All right, let's just jump right in. Every entrepreneur has that dream of scaling their business, right? But what happens when the very success you've been working so hard for becomes the one thing that threatens to tear it all down? Today, we are going to break down a really powerful two-part framework to help you navigate this very dangerous but also very exciting phase of growth.
So let's start with a number that's kind of hard to ignore: 70%. The stats are brutal. 70% of businesses fail. But here's the twist, the part that almost everyone gets wrong. They don't fail because they can't find customers. No, they fail because they can't handle the customers they get. The real danger zone isn't the startup phase, it's the scaling phase. And this quote just hits the nail on the head. It's a total paradox, isn't it? You're finally getting traction, orders are flying in, your phone is ringing off the hook, and suddenly, everything feels like it's on fire. The very growth you prayed for is now the enemy. How does that happen?
So yeah, that is the million-dollar question. How on earth can winning feel so much like you're losing? Well, the answer lies in this hidden trap that so many promising companies fall right into. We call this the success-failure paradox. And here's the thing you absolutely have to understand. The very things that made you successful in the first place, your scrappy duct-taped systems, your hands-on leadership style, those are often the exact things that will cause your business to completely implode under the pressure of real growth. Your greatest strengths literally become your greatest weaknesses. Let's get specific. That cash flow that felt super solid when you had a handful of clients, it suddenly can't keep up with 100. Those clever little systems you built yourself, they turn into total logistical nightmares. And you, the leader, you find you just can't evolve as fast as the business demands you to. And in the middle of all that chaos, you start to lose the very soul of what made your company special to begin with. So how do you actually avoid this fate? Well, it all starts with you. The very first part of this solution is an internal transformation. We call it the Phoenix Framework. And you gotta love this metaphor, right? It's called the Phoenix Framework for a reason. Just like that mythical bird, you, as the leader, have to be willing to let the old version of yourself, the founder, the doer, completely burn away. You have to rise from those ashes to become the leader your company needs you to be now. Your business simply cannot evolve until you do. This chart really breaks down that change. Just look at the shift. That startup mindset is all about being the doer. You're hands-on, you're controlling every little detail, you're building the foundation brick by brick. But the scaling mindset, that requires you to become the director. That means going hands-off, trusting your team, and focusing on the big picture vision, not just the tasks right in front of you. And let me tell you, that is a huge and often really painful leap to make. But look, a transformed leader is only half of the equation. You also need the right army fighting alongside you. And that brings us to the second piece of the puzzle, which is all about your team, the Spartan method. Now, what do most people think scaling means? Hiring a ton of people, right? Well, that's a myth. The Spartan method, which is inspired by those small elite forces of ancient Sparta, argues for the exact opposite. The goal isn't just a bigger team, it's a better team. It's about building a small, lean, agile, and absolutely lethal force of top performers. So who are the soldiers in this elite force? We call them A players. And let's be super clear here. These are not just people who are good at their jobs. A players are what we call multipliers. They make everyone around them better. They don't just produce more work. They fundamentally change the entire game for your organization. And hey, this isn't just some cool-sounding theory. There is some seriously powerful data behind this whole A-player advantage. Get this. Research from Bain & Company found that in complex roles, A-players aren't just a little bit more productive, they are 400% more productive than the average employee. 400%. That's not just a small improvement, that is a quantum leap in performance. And you can see this in the real world. Just think about Instagram, fewer than 20 employees when they sold for $1 billion. Or how about WhatsApp? They had just 55 people on staff when they were acquired for an incredible $19 billion. These weren't massive armies. They were small, elite Spartan forces that achieved unbelievable results. Netflix is famous for this. They maintain their elite team using what they call the keeper test. Managers regularly ask themselves this one simple but incredibly powerful question about each team member. And if the answer is no, they let the person go with a generous severance package. It's a ruthless commitment to excellence that keeps their team lean, mean, and absolutely world-class. Okay, so we have the leader's transformation,
That's the Phoenix. And we have the elite team strategy, the Spartan. So the big question is, how do these two powerful ideas come together to create growth that actually lasts? It really all comes down to this simple, powerful formula right here. The leader's internal Phoenix mindset is what allows them to attract and lead an external Spartan team. And when you put those two together, you create what's called conscious scaling. That's growth that has both incredible strength and real soul. So the path forward is actually a pretty clear three-step process. Step one, it has to start with you. The leader must transform. Then that new vision, that new energy, acts like a magnet, attracting those elite A players you need on your team. And finally, that unified force, the Phoenix leader and the Spartan team, can navigate the chaos of scaling, creating growth that strengthens the company instead of breaking it apart. And that really just leaves us with one final thought to chew on. If you're successful, scaling is going to happen. It's inevitable. But the way you scale, that's a choice. So you have to ask yourself, is the growth you're chasing building your masterpiece, or is it building a prison that you'll eventually be trapped inside? The choice is yours.